Hello BookTube, Sarah here and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my Harlequin anticipated reads for September of 2018. So in these videos every month I pick one book from each of Harlequin's imprints that are coming out in the next month and I highlight them for you guys as the ones that I would definitely pick up to read, essentially. So let's jump in and get started. So the first one I'm starting with is a Harlequin Desire novel, and this is called Playing Mr. Right by Cantrell. This is book number 2 in the Switching Places series. I really like this cover. I don't know, there's something about it that I find very, very appealing. This is the story of a woman by the name of Lauren, and she is an investigative reporter. And she is going undercover at this gentleman named, what's his name? Xavier's business. He's actually a charity. He actually runs a charity. And she's kind of an investigative reporter to find out if this charity itself is actually legit. And it sounds really interesting, and of course the two of them are going to end up falling into bed together, but it sounds really interesting, and I'm very much looking forward to this one. The next book is a Harlequin Heartwarming, and this is Reunion by the Sea by Jo Leigh. Isn't that a gorgeous cover? This is the story of a woman by the name of Ginny, and it says that she is devoted to two things: her daughter and keeping a long-buried secret. Then a man comes to town, I guess her old love, comes back to town because he is looking for his sister that went missing years and years ago. And she wants him to leave town before that secret that she's trying to keep buried comes back to haunt them, essentially. So this one sounds really interesting, and yeah, I am looking forward to it. Next up, we have a Harlequin historical. You guys know how much I love these. And this is The Mysterious Lord Millcroft by Virginia Heath. This is book number 1 in the King's Elite series. Now this series sounds really interesting. It's about spies. So that's very, very intriguing to me. And this is about a woman who's kind of hunting out a duke. She has always been told she's beautiful and she's special and she's going to marry a duke, and you know, that's pretty much what she's set her goals on. But she agrees to help this guy, his name is Sebastian, to with his next assignment, because he has to pretend to be a member of the you know, he has to pretend to be an aristocrat. I almost said an aristocat. No, that's something completely different. An aristocrat. So she's kind of helping him with this ruse, and he's trying to help her, I guess, maybe land a duke. But of course, the two of them are going to end up starting a relationship. The cover looks very, very intense, does it not? But it sounds really good, and I think this one will be highly enjoyable. Next up, we have a Harlequin intrigue novel, and this is Deputy Defender by Cindi Myers. This is book number 3 in the Eagle Mountain Murder Mystery series. Say that 3 times fast. This is actually the next book in the series after the one I'm currently reading, because I'm currently reading this one in that series. This is book number 2, so this is book number 3. And this book involves a deadly threat and a rare book, and a deputy trying to keep a widow safe. And it just, when I heard rare book, I was immediately intrigued. So this rare book has somehow gotten this woman into harm's way, and he is trying to protect her, and it sounds super duper interesting, and this one looks like it's going to be really good. I can't wait. Next we have a Harlequin romance, and this is A £1 Million Marriage Deal by Michelle Douglas. And this is about a millionaire playboy who, in true romance novel fashion, in order for him to get his inheritance, he has to marry by the time he's a certain age. And his best friend, who happens to be a woman, jokingly says that she will marry him for £1 million. And so I guess the story kind of goes from there. This book obviously takes place in the UK because, of course, the British pound. And I absolutely appreciated that they did not Americanize it. You know, much like they did with Harry Potter. If there's one thing that annoyed the bejesus out of me with Harry Potter, was them changing it from the Philosopher's Stone to the Sorcerer's Stone. Now, in Canada, we still had the Philosopher's Stone. So if you bought a copy of Harry Potter in Canada, that's the one you got. Also, they changed words in the book, which just drove me bonkers. Like, this book took place in the UK. You know, like, why are you Americanizing it? I'm sorry, it's just my own little pet peeve. But I'm super glad they did not do this with this book, and they left the title as is. You know, like, because the $1 Million Marriage would have worked as well, I guess. But in case you guys are curious, for the exchange rate, because when I looked this book up, I actually was. So £1 million British pounds in Canadian dollars is $1.6 million. I would absolutely marry somebody for $1.6 million. Of course, unfortunately, living in the city of Toronto, it would not get me very far. Things are rather expensive here in the city. If you are one of my United States friends, the exchange rate is $1.2 million US. So that should right there tell you something about how our dollar is faring against the American dollar. It's sad, actually. This is why I do not order a lot of books online, because it's just too expensive. So anyway, yes, outside of all that, I'm just making a few little jokes. That one, sounds super cute. And, you know, as I said, in typical romance fashion, it's going to be your standard romance novel. It still does sound like it would be a lot of fun. Next up, we have a Harlequin romantic suspense, and this is Conard County Watch by Jo Leigh. This is book number, wait for it, 39 in the Conard County, The Next Generation series. Pretty sure you don't need to read these in order. This is about an archaeologist who digs up a secret, and she runs into a, as it says, and I quote, a sexy Marine. And I guess the two of them are trying to, you know, find out more about this secret and what's going on, and it sounds really good. Jo Leigh is a great, great author, so this one obviously had to go on this list. This next book is a Harlequin special edition, and it is called Falling for the Wrong Brother by Michelle Major. This is book number 1 in the Maggie and Griffin story. Now, the reason I picked this one out of all the other ones is this is a pretty standard romance novel, where, you know, she's in love with one brother, and then I think she's engaged to the one brother. They end up breaking it off, and then she ends up falling in love with the other brother, like with his brother. But what intrigued me about this one is that when I was looking at the series and it said the Maggie and Griffin series, I'm like, wait a minute, those are the two main characters of the story. Why are you naming an entire series off of just the two main characters? And I personally have not seen this done with Harlequin or with, you know what I mean? Because 99.9% of romance novels, it is one character, one story from start to finish. You don't kind of get this like continuation. This is going to be a trilogy that is a continuation, and it sounds so interesting. So in this story, I don't know how this is going to end, but I'm totally intrigued. You know, I want to, you know, I hope it's not one of those where it just kind of gets dragged out through each of the 3 books. But the next 3, you can, if you go on Fiction Database, you can see what the next 2 are going to be. But it follows these same 2 characters, but it spans multiple years. So it just sounds really interesting. And, you know, because often you read a romance novel and you hear about this character's backstory, but here you're actually going to get to read it. You know, like a backstory if it was like a second chance romance. You know, yeah, they had a relationship years ago, but then they broke up. You know, this is probably what this is going to be like. And I am, again, so intrigued by this. I cannot wait to read this one. The next book is a love-inspired novel, and it is called Snowbound with the Best Man. And it's by Allie Pleiter, I believe is how you say her last name. Book number 2 in the Matrimony Valley series. This is about a couple who meet at a friend's wedding. He's the best man, obviously. And she has a young daughter, or I think both of them have, yes, both of them have young girls, and the 2 girls end up befriending each other. So then the 2 parents end up spending some time together. And the story kind of goes from there, and it just sounds absolutely adorable. That cover, it's winter. You know, I'm done. I've said it before. I'm done with the summer, and I want cold weather. And that cover just makes me think of the winter and makes me happy. And it looks absolutely adorable, so I think this one will be a lot of fun. And the last book I'm going to share with you is a love-inspired suspense novel. And this is Lethal Legacy by Carol J. Post. And this is this is about a woman who kind of suffered through her parents' tragic death. And then she's at their home, I guess maybe she's like packing up their things or something like that. And then she's attacked in a burglary. So her former boyfriend, or her former flame, if you will, you know, her former sweetheart, I believe is what they referred to him on the back of the book. He is the sheriff in town, and he is going to protect her. And they're going to try and find out, you know, who's terrorizing her and who's coming after her and things like that. Sounds really, really interesting, and I really think I would like this one. So anyway, guys, that is it for all the books I want to talk about. Now, before I let you guys go, I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video, I do apologize, but I need your help. So, out of all these books I just mentioned, I want you to pick one. As you guys, if you guys have been following me for a little while, when I do these videos, I ask you guys to pick me from one of the books that I have mentioned, and then I will buy a copy of it, and I will read it in the next month, like the month it's released. So in other words, this book will be read in September. And a lot of you guys have been like buddy reading this, like during the month with me. Not a true buddy read, but we've been reading them together at the same time. And it's been really, really enjoyable. So yes, so please do let me know in the comment section below which one you guys, you know, think I should definitely read in September. And yeah, anyway guys, that is it for this video. And until my next one, take care and happy reading. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Bye.